Now, where have I seen something green and shaggy?
There are some lines that, out of context, really just stick with you. Speaking of sticking things, we actually have some momentum, and we're the Bittersweet Gamers.
I'm we squared? I'm kind of concerned about your statement.
What do you mean?
What are we sticking with? Two.
We're sticking our argument to the prosecution.
Oh, that's a fair point.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Because you haven't said your line yet.
I'm the opinionator.
There we go.
Jeez.
Was that so hard?
Yes, it was hard!
This shows where the victim was killed. Blammo! The secret hideout the rebels were using.
The rebel hideout? Oh yes, we did see something like that, didn't we?
There's even handprints here!
There was no such place anywhere on the floor of that chamber.
You're absolutely right. There's no place on the floor anyway. Then what did the victim see in his final moments if not the floor of the rebel hideout?
What do you mean rebel hideout? This part seems kind of important.
This is what the victim saw in his final moments.
Or then again, maybe he would think, oh, I remember this place.
Yeah! Bam! The shaggy green surface the victim saw was one of the moss-covered stone slabs.
You know, the part with the handprints?
As you can see, there are two distinct hand-shaped impressions in the moss here. I believe the victim was killed while he stood there with his hands pressed against the slab.
That does agree with the seance vision.
Thank you.
However, one cannot definitively declare they are one and the same.
I concur. There is no proof that a murder occurred in the rebel hideout except all the blood.
There's this really suspicious blood stain in Maya's statement about the spring before, but what do we know? Indeed. Never mind what he just said. What evidence do you have of this?
I have already shown you the evidence. What do you mean? Please take a look at this second version of the photo I just showed you where I scribbled on it. You can see the results of the luminol test I performed in the rebel hideout. This is proof positive that someone had been bleeding in front of that stone slab. Is this true?
Probably should have gotten Rayfa those glasses so she could have seen it too.
This information has already been provided to the police. Detective Sky, to whom does this blood belong?
We thought it was the High Priest's blood that flowed in from outside,
You didn't double check?
We never actually checked it.
Oh my god. Then you must do so at once.
Yes, Your Majesty.
5 minutes later.
Due diligence. It takes more than 5 minutes.
I know. It appears the police have finished testing the blood. Detective Sky, your report, please.
The blood found in the rebel hideout belongs to Perez a lot, just like the defense claims. Detective Sky, do you realize what your blunder has done to me? When this trial concludes, I want to see you in my prayer chamber. There, I will deliver a joyous sermon unto you for 8 hours straight.
Oh my god.
Had I known this, my approach would have been slightly different.
Once again, Nayuta's greatest weakness is, Sky?
Well, I don't know about once again. I'm really sorry, but oh, please, anything but that. I don't want to listen to an 8-hour sermon. Nick, maybe, just maybe, this is the chance we've been waiting for.
I didn't need you to tell me that, Maya, but thank you. Yep, it would seem so. I hate to do this to Emma, but...
Go for it. It's full speed ahead, and we always beat up Gummy anyway.
That's true. The victim was killed in the rebel hideout the day before the purification rite. Then, his body was moved to the Plaza of Devotion by someone we've yet to identify.
Oh my god, that's why he wasn't moving!
Yeah!
That's awful!
So when we thought we saw Acolyte Zealot praying during the rite, he was already dead.
What?! I mean, he wouldn't smell, it's too cold.
And that's not all. If he was killed at the Inner Sanctum, that would explain one more thing.
Maya's statement!
And that would be? how the time
Oh.
of death was made to look later than it actually was. The proof of which was left behind at the sanctum. This points to how the time of death was made to appear later than it actually was.
What do they mean by this exactly?
A shoveled out area of snow.
I mean, I guess it could be that. The shoveled out area of snow is the only thing that...
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They used the snow on the corpse.
But I mean, that's like a super stretch, but I don't really know what else we've got going on.
Okay, so what we're thinking is the shoveled out, they used the snow to keep the body cold to mess with the time of death. That's why they thought it was the next day.
I guess.
So,
That's it, though.
I'll be danged. Why, these are photos of the inner sanctum. I'd like you to focus on this one. The proof is right here in this photo.
I guess really what they're saying is, well, yeah, that could be possible, but there's no way to say definitively.
Yeah.
But, so we have to establish that.
This is how the time of death was made to appear later than it really was. Do you see how the snow has been removed from this one spot only?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
That's because it was used to keep the victim's body cold. And that's why the time of death wasn't what it seemed.
The time was mistaken, and the place, too? And just what do you believe that proves?
Woman! It proves all kinds of things! That my client is innocent.
One of her fingerprints on the dagger, and the plumed Punisher theme the victim heard.
You saw yourself the clock plays the theme!
You have failed to address these two key pieces of evidence.
Because the game wouldn't let me. Ugh. I see your point. Allow me to address it now.
Wasn't this your big chance, Nick? Why don't you go on about, the other weird stuff?
Well, give me a second. I'm really hoping that the difference in location can invalidate either the weapon or the theme song from being used as evidence against you.
It does. It takes care of the weapon. Actually, that might be possible, at least for one of them.
Really?
Well, I mean, the clock is in the room,
Yes.
so... What's this? You say you can contradict our argument for a key piece of evidence?
That's what you asked for, isn't it?
And furthermore, if it's that much earlier, wouldn't her fingerprints be on it? Because all together now, she's been
Practicing with the dagger!
This is like the time she was practicing. Very well, let us see you try by throwing things that I have commented on extensively at me in the past. Nick, take a good look at the Tokusatsu merchandise at the Rebel Hideout photo.
I got it! The defense can invalidate this piece of evidence. I mean, the other one's obvious.
The plumed Punisher theme, and how do you intend to support such a claim?
Since the murder happened in the Rebel Hideout, there's something there that played the theme song other than my client's strap. It wasn't the strap? Is this true? The item that played the Plume Punisher theme song was this! The crossbow!
I will shoot you with the crossbow and mount your head on a wagon.
Oh God! This is the Plume Punisher alarm clock. I believe the victim heard its alarm go off.
What proof do you have that the alarm went off?
What proof do you have that it was my client's strap that played the theme song?
No! Do not twist the facts with your lawyerly wiles. Either way, the accused would still be guilty based off of her prints on the murder weapon. And here is what really happened.
That is the most tenuous evidence they have.
It's the best thing that they've got, and we can deal with that.
Yeah.
The victim stood with his hands on the stone slab in the hideout. Okay, well, that's true. Though there have been some twists and turns, that is the truth of what happened.
I won't get anywhere until I can eliminate the dagger. Most impressive, Your Benevolence. I see no inconsistencies anywhere in the prosecution's case. No, there is one. What's this? You still claim there to be an inconsistency?
Try as you might, the outcome will always be the same. That one changed. He did stand with his hands on the stone slab in the hideout.
That's correct.
That is true. That is true. That is true. So
I mean,
one of those that we said was true isn't true then.
And I think it's the heavy that's behind it, because we see it.
But the point is that heavy is the only thing that's weird. We know why the Gingle is there. We
correct.
know why the Plume Punisher is there. And the only other thing we can see are his hands, which we know why they're there.
And we know why that the stone thing's there.
Yeah,
so it has to be the heavy.
It is heavy, and so it's either the fourth statement or the first statement. I think it's the fourth. Okay, then what does that have to do with heavy? Before,
You're right.
Before she was pushing him down in the statements.
You're right, and that was...
So where does the heavy come in?
No, you're correct. You're correct.
So it's got to be heavy on either...
One of the statements that changed.
On either, like, the first one or the fourth one. So the problem is, on the other statement that changed, which is the one right before this.
That's true!
Why'd he do that, though? What about heavy here? Isn't that weird?
Yeah. All right. Take this!
Objection!
The victim was originally thought to have been stabbed while bent over in prayer, but he was actually standing with his hands against the stone slab. So the question is, where did the sensation of something heavy come from? Yes, I see your point. Since the victim was standing, he couldn't have been held down.
Oh!
Then tell us, Mr. Wright, what was that heavy sensation felt by the victim? What caused the heavy sensation Zealot felt? Any thoughts, Maya?
I agree that sense of heaviness seems important, but there's also the matter of Zealot's hands on the stone slab. Like I said! Why were they even there?
Could it be related to the cause of the heavy sensation?
I mean, why don't we try and figure that out? You don't just randomly... When was the last time you just walked up to the wall and stuck your hands on it?
Right?
I mean, like, in the moss, it was deep enough to cause handprints, which does seem like it fell. But if he was smushed by a rock, you'd notice that.
Well, Mr. Wright, do you have an answer for us?
I mean, that slab doesn't look like it only weighs as much as a table or a shelf or something.
Right?
Because if you were standing holding up a shelf and it fell on you, it would hurt, but you'd be like, ow, god dang it. Whereas if a stone slab fell on you, you'd be like, oh, help me.
Plus, I don't think the stone slab would have survived.
Maybe it... No, anyway, go on.
Of course! If I just envisioned the state Zealot was in when he was killed.
The slab may have survived.
The cause of the heaviness the victim felt was the falling stone slab.
I guess I second-guessed myself when we tried to be like, well, maybe it's not falling because it...
I just don't think it's the culprit jumping on him. The only conceivable cause is the stone slab falling over, trapping the victim underneath.
Second-guessing again.
What?
What? Oh, I mean, it did obviously look like that. The stone slab came falling down on him, crushing him underneath, but...
Right.
Couldn't have been that heavy, I guess.
That was the cause of the heavy sensation the victim felt.
While your theory is impressive, you have overlooked a key fact. The victim was not crushed to death. Rather, he was stabbed. Which is what I was saying. I love it when I make the prosecution's case. But it's possible that he fell onto the dagger. But that would have meant that
That would be a really weird angle to fall onto it.
And really precise, too.
He may have been trapped and then stabbed after he was trapped by the stone.
So you mean... Because he definitely died down there, because that's where all the blood was. But that would have meant that... Believe or whoever swam through the spring and stabbed him from the spring.
Why couldn't she have already been there? In the hideout, tending to something else?
So she stabbed him while it was falling on him?
After it Oh, but the pain...
But you'd have to. He felt the pain right there, and And if it was after the slab fell on him, she would literally,
Okay,
how is he
yeah.
going to stab him in the base of his neck when he has been smushed on the ground? Well, conveniently, there's a way she could get under him. It's called the spring. So she swims under the spring and stabs him from under, and it's like, all that just seems weird. She had to have gotten him as it was falling.
Yeah.
That's also consistent with where the blood is.
That's true. Oh, yeah.
But how did he not get injured? How were there not injuries? Like, go to the autopsy.
Yeah, how would there not injuries of him being crushed under a slab?
I mean, that's all we got. I mean, I guess if it's just like a 25-pound slab, but it don't look like that. Or do you claim that, oh, it looks like Damon made my argument again about the dagger stabbing him after the slab had smushed him? I'm such a prosecutor, I guess. Plus, had the killer been behind the victim, they both would have been crushed together.
Well, would you care to explain?
Sure, I'd love to. That doesn't mean I can.
I mean, the pain happened when it happened, so that's what had to have, well, happened.
How could the dagger have been plunged in after the slab fell on the victim?
Don't tell me.
The killer couldn't have plunged the dagger into the victim after the slab fell on him. But what if the murder weapon wasn't what we thought it was?
Well, I mean, there's that whole statue Oh!
Yeah,
the door
because
was
the door
turned.
spins!
The door was turned around.
Oh my
And-
god!
And this thing crushed him
Knocked him into the
onto,
statue?
onto the horn.
Yeah!
And that's why all their blood was there.
And that's also what killed Abbott. Abbott
Yeah.
and me.
Yeah. Well, there were other weapons in the rebel hideout. For instance, there was a fancy crossbow mounted on a wagon, which I don't understand the purpose of at all. But the entrance to the hideout is right by the stone slab. There isn't enough space between the two to use any of the weapons found within.
Yeah, there's not much space by the entrance, is there?
So what was the real murder weapon then? I'd better think of something.
Come on, Phoenix, you can do this! If the murder weapon wasn't the dagger, then the dagger must have been plunged into the victim after he was already dead. And we know how my fingerprints got there! That means he was stabbed at least twice, but the autopsy doesn't mention that.
Then he must have been stabbed in the same spot with something shaped like the dagger.
We dealt with this last time!
Right?
Would the defense care to offer an explanation sometime this century?
Wait, wasn't there something dagger-like near the scene of the crime?
Near the scene of the crime? And no, it's not that sickle on a stick.
Something
Really, go look at the photo. We never noticed it, but you see in the back there's a sickle on a stick. It's like you get what they're trying to make, a pole arm, but it really just looks like something that you'd make in like some post-apocalyptic zombie-killing game with a rather remarkable focus on close-quarters combat and ancient Chinese weaponry.
Something that had a shape similar to the Warbod dagger.
Something that Abbott and me ran into.
Present your evidence at this time, Mr. Wright.
This shows what really killed the victim.
That's the only thing we have that shows it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
It's covered in blood. Well, let me double check. Yeah, that's the only thing.
Unless they want us to present the diagram. Okay.
Is this not the photo from the scene of the High Priest murder?
About that.
Are you suggesting the murder weapon is hidden therein?
This is what really took Prey Zealot's life.
That's why the thing is so stinking. Well, no, it was bloody because of Abbott and me. It must have been cleaned off because Maya would have been like, "Why is that all bloody?"
Yeah.
But that is the
Warbod statue again.
Exactly. The Warbod statue has dagger-like feathers protruding from it. That is what really took the victim's life.
You imbecilic fool. The statue is outside of the hideout, and no one has filled me in on how this works, even Emma, who went to the hideout! How do you propose it impaled someone who was inside?
Haven't you heard? The Warbod statue also functions as the hideout's door.
What do you mean?
The statue can pull a complete switcheroo.
A switcheroo? I'm afraid I don't get your meaning, as this isn't my native tongue, despite the way our names seem to come out.
To put it simply, it's a revolving door. Whoop. Whoop.
A revolving door? Why, that makes perfect sense.
Does it actually make that noise?
Therefore, I believe the truth behind the divination seance to be this. Whoop.
Yeah, and then for some reason...
Someone shoved it from the other side.
There we go.
As the victim entered the secret hideout, the stone sculpture came toppling towards him. He threw up his hands to stop it, but its waist forced him backwards.
Its waist forced him backwards?
Hush you! Unfortunately, the Warbod statue was right behind him.
Ah, God.
Yeah.
This cannot be!
Oh, it be!
How could anyone get that from the divination seance? But the accused's fingerprints were found on the dagger.
She had held it while rehearsing for the rite.
For the 800,000th time!
Which is when her prints got on it!
And this was the 8th! Gah.
This is a shocking turn of events, but...
Who would have thought that the accused holding a weapon that she had been holding for rehearsal would have anything to do with why her prints were on it?
There is a great deal of circumstantial evidence in the defense's favor.
Blah, blah,
I believe
blah,
we
blah,
must
blah,
accept
blah.
that the Warbod statue was what killed the victim. Are you okay?
Now that we know how Acolyte Zealot really met his demise, there's no basis for claiming my client committed this crime.
Nice work, Nick! How can this be happening yet again? The divination seance is the only truth.
No, your benevolence. It's not the truth itself, but it is a means for shedding light on the truth. Do you understand now? I'm not disproving the divination seance. It's your insights in which the fault lies. Your kingdom needs lawyers so that they can interpret your insights.
Different people interpreting the insights, the lawyer, the priestess, and the prosecutor help you come to what really happened, help you come to the truth. But that means I have been misinterpreting the voices of the spirits all this time?
Your benevolence! Are you unwell? All the color has drained from your face.
I will be fine. Continue your proceedings without me.
As you wish.
Poor Rayfa. I feel kind of bad
I was
for
about
her.
to say the exact same thing in the exact same way.
Now then, I would have the defense continue.
She just needs to reorient her own approach to this whole thing.
Please explain what you could have learned now that we know how the victim actually died.
I like how you added extra words in there, your majesty.
Shut up!
Your majesty!
Acolyte Zealot was killed in the hideout before the High Priest's murder. That means the body found at the Plaza of Devotion was moved there by the real killer.
And we haven't really touched that one, but I mean, we know what's going on.
But only after the Warbod dagger was thrust into him, to make it look like the murder weapon.
That does seem to agree with what we now know. But why would the real killer go to such lengths?
I believe stabbing Acolyte Zealot's body with the dagger and moving it to the plaza was...
A crime committed for fun!
a warning from the Twilight Realm!
It was that one.
I'll give you a warning from the Twilight Realm.
It was an attempt to make my client look like a serial killer.
And it worked.
That's right! The real killer planned all of this! This forged serial murder case!
They did?
That's it, Nick. Keep hammering away. Oh, that was more energetic than usual. Your reasoning has more holes in it than that cheese you foreigners so enjoy. But
What?
I guess he's talking about the Swiss cheese or something, but the fact of the matter is that anybody living up here would eat something like that. Yak butter, yak milk, that's all they got, man.
Yeah.
Like those putrid, hole-ridden clumps of curds that only a rat like you could love.
Sounds like someone's lactose intolerant.
How many people who live in the Himalayas eat yak? Maybe not yak cheese, but they eat yak milk, everything else.
Yeah.
Your reasoning, much like your putrid, hole-ridden brain, has putrefied, because when I've been proven wrong, I insult you furiously.
What's his deal with things going putrid?
Though I guess the way that Franziska or Simon would do it was kind of by physically attacking you. Is that maybe more honest than this?
I think it is.
Well, I like those two more than Nayuta, so yes.
What does that tell you?
Well, you don't know anything about Simon, but you have yet to overturn my argument that the accused is the killer. A careful analysis of the chain of events up to the killing exposes the truth as follows.
Let's hear it.
Disguised as Lady Kira, the accused found the rebel hideout the day before the Wright, but Acolyte Zealot had followed her there after noticing her suspicious behavior. Caught by surprise, she pushed the stone slab toward him, and we know the rest. I've never been to the rebel hideout in my life.
She couldn't!
When the high priest arrived at the sanctum the next day, he realized what she had done.
Oh my god, there's so many holes in his frickin' brain.
That is when the accused murdered him in order to silence him.
I believe Prosecutor Saad Mahdi has posed a compelling scenario. The defense, on the other hand, has yet to disprove the accused's guilt, except he has.
So we've dealt with the fingerprints and everything else. It still could have been the accused. That's what.
Why would my client move Acolyte Zealot's body to where everyone could see it? And why would she stab the dagger with her fingerprints into his dead body?
Just to make you think that she was doing something funny.
She had no reason to do any of those things!
The dagger in his corpse was likely a warning to the rebels. Something along the lines of Lady Kira will slay the defiant dragons.
Except Lady Kira captures rebels.
So that is why she moved the body to the plaza for all to see.
Now he has the judge convinced too. Oh good. I thought I'd finally made some headway, and I did, but this guy's being obtuse.
Well, Mr. Wright, about time for one of your groans of distress, is it not?
Ah!
Groan of distress?
Yeah, like what I just did.
It kills me to admit this, but I've got nothing to counter his argument with except plain old logic.
Well, what then?
And I still haven't disproved the allegations against Maya.
She even had access to the key.
How would she randomly know that?
Yeah,
Oh, I'll just grab this orb and stick it in the statue.
well, she'd been here for a few years.
Oh. I suppose propose something, but no. I have to provide evidence. They propose something, and oh, that must be what it is.
Yeah.
It's bullcrap.
Is it not time to end your futile struggle? You were already judged guilty yesterday. That makes you a dead lawyer walking. Accept the death that now awaits you, and in doing so, finally know peace.
Oi. A dead lawyer walking indeed. Then again, are not all lawyers who practice in Kurain? But I must admit I misspoke earlier. Allow me to amend my statement. I had said the defense's reasoning had a putrid, cheese-like smell.
Oh, God.
But I now realize the stench was from his own putrid body, on the verge of death.
Are you calling me a zombie?
Now I'm a rotting zombie.
Yes,
Good call, Billy.
I am calling you a zombie.
Think, who could have killed Zealot the day before the Wright? Who knew about the rebel hideout and could gain access to the inner sanctum? And here's the part that's gonna be hard to...
Well, you know, another person it could have been, though I think fundamentally the person, well, what if it was Abbott and me?
That's possible.
I mean, it's Believe.
It's gotta be believed.
Only those involved with the Wright can enter the sanctum, so...
Wait a second. Only a rebel would have known about the secret hideout. And the only person who was involved with the Wright had access to the sanctum. And was suspected of being a rebel
It's like I just said, but...
Ah!
Did somebody come to mind?
Yes. Except there's one huge problem.
That person isn't a fan of the Plume Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
Except maybe he is, but anyway. A huge problem? What are you two going on about? Plotting your escape from the sacred hall? Going to shout alley-oop, jump up, and then run away?
I was thinking about it.
I would not put it past you, considering you have no means to raise further objection.
If I don't do something, Prosecutor Sadmati will have this one in the bag. I'll just have to bluff my way out of this regardless of that huge problem.
Why don't you bring up what you just thought of?
Your Majesty, I believe there is another suspect in Perez Zealot's murder.
Even the most benevolent Holy Mother would not forgive such a desperate lie. After all, you know very well that such a person does not exist.
Well, technically true. No, there is one person who knew everything.
Does such a figure truly exist? Tell us, who might that be?
Existed.
I believe the prime suspect in Acolyte Zealot's murder is... to rust in me.
Yeah.
It had to be someone allowed to enter the sanctum and who knew of the hideout. And that would be the High Priest. He could have committed the crime if it occurred the day before the Rite.
You would pin a crime upon the dead, knowing very well they tell no tales?
Did you make a pirate joke?
Have you no shame?
Dead men tell no tales. That is definitely a problem.
But they do here in Kurain, but we've already been through all that.
Yeah, plus she can only pull up, like, their last moments, but we've got someone who can channel here.
Well, we're trying to keep that part under wraps.
Yeah, but if it proves her innocence...
It's a dead man telling a tale.
If only the High Priest could tell his side of the story as I look at Maya.
If it's this or die, you have to do it, right? But would they even accept it? But you've seen her channeling. She takes on the physical attributes of who it is she channels.
That's gonna be weird.
I mean, listening to Billy, do I have something on my face?
Wait a second. Could this actually work?
You see how I'm looking around all trying not to meet you gaze it. Oh no, don't tell me I have some of my breakfast caught between my teeth. It's the yak butter, isn't it?
No, if there's even the slightest possibility, I'll have to go with it.
Oh God, why do you have to try and bring down the customs of this country, Nick?
Your Majesty, dead men do tell tales. Therefore, I would like to request the High Priest's testimony.
His testimony? And just how do you propose we get the deceased to testify?
It's a tool of international politics!
There's a way for the dead to testify. It's known as... Summon him here by means of spirit channeling.
Whoa, what did you just say?
I mean, can you subpoena the Queen to get her to show up in channel?
Well, we don't have to.
Well, yes, but that's a really bad thing to do in this country.
Peace! I am frankly astonished you even know of such a thing. But spirit channeling is a secret art that only Her Eminence Queen Garan can perform.
Sorry to mess with everything about your country.
And Her Eminence is far too busy with other duties to perform it at our pleasure. I suspected as much. That means our only hope is...
Oh my god. You realize you're ruining my life with this too, don't you, Nick?
Well, you've already completed your training, right?
Well, I guess I'm going to die otherwise, so wouldn't have a life to ruin. It's okay, Nick. You can tell them.
But Maya, even though I'm the one who brought it up. I thought you wanted to keep it a secret here in Kurain.
Well, I'm going to die otherwise! Don't worry, it's not like it's against the law or violates some religious precept, so I don't think we'll be punished. At least, I hope not, and it can't get any worse, right?
But this is a crucial period for you. It'll decide whether you become master of Kurain.
We don't have any other choice, now do we? If I'm found guilty, it'll be a lot worse than not becoming master of Kurain.
All right. Thanks, Maya. Actually, there is someone here who is capable of channeling spirits.
Oh,
It's me!
And Rayfa already left, but she's just gonna get broken when she finds out. But even her benevolence, Princess Rayfa, finds the divination seance to be a challenge. Who could possibly have greater spiritual power than she, aside from the Queen? That would be me.
Is this some sort of a joke? A foreigner could not possibly have such power.
Well, I do. Used it in court several times before.
Peace! Peace, I say! Is this true? Is the accused capable of performing the secret art of spirit channeling?
Well, yes. Yes, I can. And I'm really good at it, too.
Now, Your Majesty, we'd like your permission to begin.
Here she comes.
She is still here. She needs to see it.
Your benevolence.
This is an outrage. An outrage, I say! First, you make a mockery of the divination seance, and now spirit channeling? Her benevolence speaks the truth!
Foreign devils! I say they should be put to death immediately!
Still your voices. Barbed head. Spirit channeling is a most sacred and secret of arts. Are you prepared to face the consequences of what you propose?
Living? Yes, I am.
Your benevolence, are you saying you approve of their use of spirit channeling?
I will judge whether their claim is true. If this is but another of their lies, they shall be executed on the spot.
Very well then. Your benevolence? What if the accused accidentally calls forth an evil spirit?
Do you truly believe this foreigner is capable of channeling spirits?
Oh, no, but I wanted to be sure as I am responsible for the safety of all present.
It has happened before, as it turns out.
What? No.
Well, an inexperienced practitioner could inadvertently call forth a dangerous spirit.
References.
But do not fear, for I have a Magatama of parting. Well, no, it wasn't inadvertent. With it, I can send spirits back to the Twilight Realm by halting the flow of spiritual power.
This will surely come in handy later.
That is a relief indeed.
These foreigners have thrown down the gauntlet.
Oh, did Nana tell you that one?
Let us not shirk from their challenge. We must prove them guilty and deliver their last rites. Do I make myself clear, Prosecutor Sadmadi? He has dismissed her several times. Perfectly, Your Benevolence.
Very well. The accused may channel the High Priest's spirit. But first, we must take a short recess to prepare. We will resume as soon as the preparations are complete.
Is this necessary?
Until then, this court is adjourned.
I guess? Sorry, Maya, but this was the only way. You sure you're up for this?
Thanks for believing in me, Nick.
That's what I do.
Even though I don't know if my channeling ability is on point yet. Why don't you have confidence?
All right.
Well, she hasn't gotten a chance to practice.
Before she started training here, her success rate was only about 30%.
Funny number that keeps showing up.
Channeling is bullcrap! I know you can do it, Maya. I'm not even going to dignify that last statement. So you sure you're ready?
Yeah, at least I think so.
You don't sound so confident. What about all your training?
Well, the amount of skill points I got from this training allowed me to increase my SP by about 150 points, but training's one thing. Actually doing it is another.
I mean, she did think she may have been, like, taken over by a spirit during Abbott and me's death, so that might be the source of her not confidence.
But that's sort of been proven to not be true. Maybe? Maybe it hasn't been.
I mean, we kind of haven't really addressed how she got knocked out and all that stuff.
It's funny stuff in the Gingle.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you know, you're right. We haven't addressed
Yeah!
that.
The
It
Gingle
had to
should have made it so she couldn't just pass out.
Yeah, that's right. It had to have been something like that because you don't just pass out after eating something that keeps you awake for 3 days.
Yeah! If she fails to channel the High Priest, we're as good as dead.
Relax, Nick. You can count on me. You remember how many times I've done it when I really needed to before?
That's true.
I'll show you what my training's done for me. This will be a moment you never forget.
Okay! I just hope it's unforgettable in a good way.
Of course, I guess I've had these moments before, and Billy totally forgot them. Once we hear Abbott and me's story, I'm sure the truth will come to light.
I hope so, but he was hiding the fact that he was a rebel, so I doubt it'll be as cut and dried as all that.
They're ready for you. Please return to the Hall of Justice at once.
Okay, Maya, I'm counting on you.
You got it. Here we go. I hope they don't have all these accoutrements and, like, ritualistic stuff that you'd use in Kurain, but...
Yeah, because she can just do it whenever.
We have received official approval for the accused to channel a spirit here today.
Well, no consequences then. I mean, unless they fail.
Ah, well.
Now, if you will, Miss Fay, please proceed so we can all laugh at your failure.
And dance on your grave. I mean, doesn't it just feel like Kurain as a state entity is attempting to dance on Maya Fay's grave?
Kind of, yeah.
Yes, Your Majesty.
I can't believe this. Only the Queen should channel spirits.
Execute him! Put him to death right now!
Jesus.
Ah, Kurain, where they chant death in the courtroom.
Come on, Maya. I'm counting on you.
I have been studying here in Kurain for 2 years now, so that one day I will be the master of the suspiciously named Kurain, a village of spirit mediums back home. But first, I shall show you all the fruits of my training in your kingdom.
Wow, she seems really confident.
Huh. A neophyte practitioner such as you could not possibly channel a spirit. Okay, your benevolence, how about this? If I succeed, will you stop calling me a neophyte? Very well, if you succeed.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I will. Just you watch.
Do a dance, Maya.
Oh. A serious look in her face. Oh, spirit of to rust in me, something, something, return to the world of the living! That would have been more dramatic if I would have been able to read in time.
Nimpo!
I wonder if she's going to physically change into him. Like, that's normally how it works.
Yeah, she has to, right?
Eh? What is this place?
Oh my!
No! This cannot be! Also, it is so dumb looking! Pulkunka!
Why am I wearing a skirt? Oh, these panties are nice, though.
The accused spiritual power is the real deal, all right.
Go, Maya, and make this quick. You're creeping me out.
I do not understand. This cannot be. This simply cannot be. I must step out now before I forget myself. Heavens to Betsy.
Oh, Abbott in me?
Would this be the Twilight Realm? Funny, I figured it'd be full of, like, bad stuff.
It looks an awful lot like a courtroom, doesn't it?
Right? Who said that? And what of this? Oh my God! And what of this luxurious mane of hair?
As a person who is of the follically challenged variety, I can say that while I have very much made peace with my lack of hair, and understand all the benefits such as looking good in hats, being able to wear any hat.
Yeah, I can't wear hats.
Because you have a thick, luxurious mane of hair.
Exactly.
Understanding, how people are rated on I don't need to go through that wonderful study that says bald people are awesome. But I will tell you what. If I did, in fact, just obtain suddenly a luxurious mane of hair, like I used to have in the days of my youth...
You did.
I would never look back. To rust in me, enjoy it while you can.
Is it perhaps a gift from the Holy Mother for decades of faithful service?
Abbott in me?
My! But if it isn't His Majesty, did you die too?
Did you notice how he opened his eyes?
Yeah. Have you two shuffled off that mortal coil?
He really did say that! Polkunka!
Please do not count me among the dead. It is only you who has passed on. But the spirit medium, Maya Fey, has brought you back among us today.
Did he know that?
Why? Acolyte Fey has mastered the secret art of spirit channeling.
Wow, we thought that maybe he knew, but I guess he didn't.
I suppose that explains these gorgeous locks.
When I pass from this world, I too hope to be channeled with a full head of hair.
Well, I thought he was going to say something like, I too hope to be channeled in the body of a young, beautiful woman, so...
Uh-huh. Though it be for the briefest of moments. I give thanks for this splendid coiffure. I don't know how to say that word.
But he gives thanks for it, by God!
Thanks be to the Holy Mother! However, this kimono is a bit too snug for my taste, if you would excuse me.
Don't strip!
Just be careful when you change back.
Oh, God!
There, that is better.
Can we get to his testimony now? And I wish he'd keep his top on, please.
Huh? Why, you are that foreign lawyer the people speak of as of late. And is this not the Hall of Justice? Why have I been summoned here?
Forgive us for calling you back from your eternal rest.
Man, compared to the last time this happened in court, this is going so much smoother.
Well, this is something that they're familiar with.
It is part of the religion and of the state.
But you have been accused of murder.
Yeah, it's probably your wife.
Might we ask you to testify on your own behalf?
Ah!
I have been accused of murder? That is troubling indeed. Ah! What's with that crazy pose? Don't do weird stuff in Maya's body.
This trial has had a lot of firsts. The last trial had a first.
Uh-huh.
A couple of firsts, I guess. But this is the first time that the victim of a trial has been the person who is testifying. But the victim of this is technically for the murder of Pere.
Yeah.
But it's connected to Inmi's murder. It's close enough, right?
Yeah. Is this really cause for such astonishment? Even the lowliest of monks can achieve such body control with the proper training.
There's no way I can do that, but my normal sitting posture is a yoga pose.
Oh, I wonder if I'll be able to do that someday.
I never thought it was weird, but I've had people freak out on me before.
Will the defense please explain the situation to the High Priest?
I'd be happy to. Your disciple, Perezalot, has been murdered. It happened on the day before the purification rite. And the crime occurred in the rebel hideout hidden within the inner sanctum. Acolyte Zealot! He has been killed? Who would do such a thing?
Well, we were thinking it might be you.
Someone who knew of the hideout and had access to the inner sanctum and is a plumed Punisher fan. In other words, you, Abbott and me. After all, weren't you secretly a rebel?
Oh my god. Oh my god. I feel as though I am about to die just from watching him.
Oh dear. That's still Maya's body. I hope he doesn't break anything.
Spirit channeling's pretty cool, huh? Wow, the High Priest amazing. To think he mastered such an advanced prayer pose. He's still worthy of our veneration even if he is a rebel.
Oh my! Have my rebel allegiances been exposed?
Yep, they sure have.
Not even my wife knew of that.
Look at the dangling,
I know,
Maya's dangling
I know.
sandal.
It seems to rest in peace is not my fate.
Actually, your wife probably did know.
Why did you, a devout priest of Cryanism, join the rebellion?
Did you say a devout peace? The High Priest has come back to us for but a brief time, Defense. Shall we not cut to the chase and ask the most pressing of questions?
Oh, right.
Abbott in me. The prosecution believes the one who slew both you and Acolyte Zealot to be Maya Fey, who had been playing the role of Lady Kira in the Wright.
Being that I was dead until just a moment ago, my memory is a bit hazy.
Could you please do your best to remember?
Objection!
The High Priest says his memory is hazy. It is all coming back to me. Quick!
Hopefully you haven't just been led by the prosecution like he so likes to do.
It is as Prosecutor Sarmati concluded. I was slain by none other than Maya Fey.
He just put together that his wife was in trouble, so he's like, well, I'm already dead, so what does it really matter about me? So I'm going to protect my wife.
Yeah.
The High Priest's statement has proven my assertions with regards to his murder correct.
No!
Okay, let's channel somebody else now.
What about Acolyte Zealot? You were the one who killed him, weren't you? I know not about my disciple's murder.
I'm getting so freaking sick of freaking cross-examining amnesiacs. Why are we...
Furthermore, I have an alibi of my own. It's an alibi? Seriously?
I love watching you squirm. It seems the testimony the defense has been hoping for is working against him. Now, Abbott and me, your testimony, if you please.
Right above the Magatama. It's like little details like that, you know, creation of a religion, iconography, etc., setting, country.
Yeah.
Praise.
Yes, of course. Here's my totally believable alibi.
I have an alibi.
I have an ironclad alibi for the time during which the murder took place. Just past noon on the day before the Wright, I was entertaining guests at my home. And I believe my guests can corroborate this, which means it was my wife. You had guests? Just past noon. That's right about the time Zealot was murdered. Are you sure about that? Absolutely.
So Zealot must have left this little party and then immediately been killed.
Come to think of it, Rayfa told me about a spirit's memory.
A spirit's memory is cut off at the moment of death. So,
even a spirit that is brought back after centuries doesn't sense any gap in time. Between the moment of its death and the moment it is channeled?
yes, and yet it clearly recalls all of the memories it had in life.
The High Priest seems to know exactly what he's talking about, but he could still be lying. So the question is, what would be the best angle of attack? Well, just to do what I normally do, I guess.
Do the same thing you did the last time you cross-examined a person inhabiting Maya's body.
I have an alibi. I have an ironclad alibi for the time during which the murder took place.
What did you say? I have an alibi again.
Alibi!
God dang it!
You used the word alibi as if it were second nature.
That's a good point. I love that.
Are you perhaps mocking me? Or is it perhaps the kingdom of Karayan itself you ridicule?
He just toasted Phoenix with that one. Oh my God. Oh, the pain. We have plenty of courtroom dramas on TV.
Peace, 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 I say. Jeez. Mr. Wright, would you care to clarify your last statement?
By the way, is it just me, or is To Rust in Me potentially one of the best Ace Attorney witnesses?
I like him really a lot.
You like him really good so far.
Yes. Please, don't take it the wrong way.
Are you mocking me, or is it perhaps the kingdom of Kurain that you are mocking?
It's just alibi is a rather technical term for a priest to use so naturally. I assure you, I know how to use the term. I'm not a kid. In fact, I had even hoped for a chance to do so one day.
Okay, so the cat has decided that he really wants to play with everything all of a sudden.
That's adorable.
He's chasing a ball and batting it around. He has these cat furniture toy things, and he's smacking them around.
That's the play-by-play you all tuned in for.
Yeah, I gotta go play with the cat. I feel guilty. Hold on.
No, wait, come back!
I'm such a softie when it comes to cats. I gave him a few minutes. He can't complain.
I suppose that even I, a high priest, am not immune to such trivial worldly attachments.
He liked watching courtroom dramas.
Oh, I see.
Oh, he's still going, and it's cute.
He seems unusually calm and composed.
Oh, all right.
It's almost as if he had prepped himself for something like this.
You know, that's a good point.
Just past noon on the day before the rite, I was entertaining guests at my home.
Maybe it was him.
Guests? And you were entertaining them personally?
Well, thinking about it,
That I was.
when we get to Belieb, we had said that Belieb killed Zalat for revenge. Well, it can't be that.
Correct, because Zealot was killed first.
It might very well be in me.
Could be.
Well, it's one of the two, either him or his wife.
We gathered around the table for a most enjoyable conversation. He said his guests could corroborate his alibi. That can't be good for our case. Are you sure that was the same day as the murder? Maybe you've misremembered. Gah! Do not doubt my mnemonic facilities! Faculties!
My God, that was terrifying, and look what he's doing right there!
Woo!
I mean, looks like he outdoes Sadmati here.
I may have died, but my memories up to that point are crystal clear!
Please don't fire the Magatama at me, sir.
Sorry. He's pretty thin-skinned for a priest.
Oh, I guess I should have known better than to doubt his memory. Yes, flashback.
A spirit's memory is cut off at the moment of death.
So even a spirit that is brought back after centuries doesn't sense any gap in time.
Didn't we just do this flashback, Barbed Head?
Between the moment of its death and the moment it is channeled?
No, fine, just ignore me in the past. Yes, and yet it clearly recalls all of the memories it had in life.
It's my flashback, I'll remember what I want. That's the one. There's nothing better than enjoying Gingil cuisine with dear friends. That way, everyone's breath becomes equally malodorous.
Everyone's breath stinky stinks.
Right. And I believe my guests can corroborate this. And your guests would be? And who exactly were your guests that day? Don't tell me they were rebels, so they can't be called here to testify.
We'll find them somewhere.
It was none other than his Majesty along with his family.
Uh-oh.
He couldn't attend the rite due to work, so he stopped by ahead of time.
Well, Your Majesty.
My, how his daughter has grown. Wait a second.
Let me set the record straight right now. I am not a rebel. Thank you for that wonderful meal, Abbott and me. Lady and me's cooking simply cannot be beat.
So there you have it. When exactly was His Majesty at your home? He was there from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Indeed, precisely the time period within which Acolyte Zealot was slain.
Had we told you that?
How do I know that? I don't think you did, actually.
Yes, and we had a rousing chat concerning the game of Catch You Dem All. But... I'll just have that added to the testimony.
Ah, thank you very much. I wasn't entirely sure what we should do next, but I am now.
After all, it was I who visited the High Priest's home.
I mean, it
I
still
guess-
leaves 2 hours.
Yeah.
My guess that day were His Majesty and his family. They visited from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Your Majesty, are you sure this testimony is completely accurate? As sure can be.
This is the first time the judge has actually been involved in the testimony as somebody who corroborates it.
Yeah. Oh, how wonderful it is to finally have my actions be admissible as evidence in court!
His Majesty was at my home during the exact time period of the murder. Come, let us put this behind us. I could not have possibly committed his crime. This crime. Some crime.
That was kind of suspicious.
How can you be so sure? What if the clock or watch you were using was off, or you misread the time?
There was a clock right near the table, and it had the exact time as my watch.
Oh yeah?
Now do you understand, lawyer? Huh? As you can see, my alibi is airtight. Or do you still think I could have killed Acolyte Zealot?
His Majesty's a witness?
Are you satisfied now?
No!
There is not a single discrepancy in Abbott Inme's alibi, as if he rehearsed it. I mean...
If I give up now, it's all over. Now hold on a second! Is there something, anything wrong with the High Priest's testimony? Is there? Well, let's look at the evidence. Wait! The picture of Maya and the High Priest's family taken during the Feast of Blessings on the day before the rite. So this must have been taken before the judge came over.
Right. That's why I was saying it's a pretty funny time frame, because this had to have been taken between 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. Okay?
Right, because that's when the judge came over.
And the judge would have remembered Maya or Zealot being there. So then, after this picture was taken, Zealot goes and gets murdered before 2 p.m. I mean, often when this comes up, the answer is no, there's nothing wrong with that. It's something outside of this, but other than that 12 to 2 p.m., like, is that enough? However, look at what there also isn't. This isn't one of those moments where there's like a penalty.
That's true.
I'm still concerned about that 12 to 2 p.m. Let's say there is.
Okay.
I mean, otherwise, what are we doing? We're not doing anything. We're just spinning our wheels.
Right. There is a discrepancy in the High Priest's testimony.
There is? Well, then perhaps you could explain what it might be.
This is what was wrong with this testimony. The prayer feast was too short.
There's still those 2 hours, and...
No, he knew the time of the crime.
Yeah, that, because we were like, how'd you know that?
Yeah. After Abbott Inme was channeled, no one ever stated what time Acolyte Zealot was murdered.
Now that you mention it...
Despite that, you claim to have an alibi from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. That means you knew that Acolyte Zealot was dead when you was still alive!
Hey! Oh!
Oh my, that was great!
Wait, I think I saw something just now.
No, I must be imagining things. So tell me, how did you know what time the crime had been committed? About that.
Yeah.
Open your heart! Let the Holy Mother in!
But what does that have to do
We've been blessed with the High Priest's sacred words of prayer.
with anything that's going on?
All who serve her holiness must strive to banish worldly desires from their soul. Open your heart! Let the Holy Mother in! Purge your mind of greed and bias!
Oi, he's distracting!
I feel as if my very soul has been cleansed.
No!
You can't fool me! I'm a putrid lawyer. Prayer may banish worldly desires, but it can't make a contradiction disappear. What are you gonna say, smug Mahdi?
How can you be so sure?
What's that supposed to mean?
This lawyer seems to think little of the power of Kuryanist prayer.
Huh?
I mean, that's pretty intimidating. Abbot Enmy was at home during the crime, but knew of what happened at the hideout. I believe this can be explained thusly.
Oh, good.
He must have had a way to monitor the hideout from his home.
I guess the microphone? What?
That makes sense.
You never cease to amaze, prosecutor. As he has surmised, there was a listening device installed at the hideout. It enabled me to instantly learn of anything unusual, even when I was not there.
Remember, the rebels had been using this as a top-secret hideout. It would be perfectly natural for them to install such an apparatus.
Wait, come to think of it, when I was searching the rebel hideout... There's something underneath the banner. A microphone? What's this doing here? Was someone trying to record something with it? That was a listening device? Yeah, it's what a microphone is. It starts recording whenever it detects movement. And I heard just such a recording after His Majesty and his family left. If you look in the desk in my study, you will find the tape in question.
All right then. Bailiff!
Yeah, no matter what, that seems like a really important thing to find. We darn well ought to listen to that. Yes, Your Majesty!
Go retrieve the tape in question from the High Priest's home.
At once, Your Majesty!
Man, I've been having to pause this trial a lot.
The power of Kuryanist prayer. Even a putrid brain such as yours should understand it now.
It's like the contradiction really did vanish. We shall ascertain the content of the recording device once we have the tape. I added another word in there, didn't I?
You're really good at that.
In the meantime, I would ask Abbott and me to continue with this testimony.
Okay, well, he can continue with his testimony next time, and I bet it's going to be hilarious.
I bet it will be
because
hilarious.
he is hilarious.
Quick! I don't actually laugh like that. That's just what my wife does.
Maybe that's her normal laugh.